Hey everyone, Difference Maker here, and once again, Merry Late Christmas. Have I done this before? It's kind of a funny coincidence that we're on the same map that when I made my top 5 worst killer perks. Very funny. But in today's video, I'll be talking about the top 5 best survivor perks, because since we're at the end of 2021 in one more day, I'll be making this video talking about the best survivor perks to see what has changed and what's the best perks. Now, the rules are pretty simple. I'm just gonna do any perk. Any perk counts. Teachables, regulars, anything goes. Now, before I start the video, I wanted to say, thank you for 100 subscribers. I couldn't believe I was gonna make it to 100 subs. Like, I only did YouTube as just a little side thing. I wasn't expecting to get to 100 subs by the end of the year. I just want to say, thank you very much for getting me to 100. Now, let's get to number 5. So, the number 5 best survivor perk is Iron Will. And this perk's very basic. What it does is it lowers the volume of grunts of pain by 50, 75, and 100%. Alright, now the reason why the perk is on the list is because it does one thing so simple, but yet it does the one thing fucking amazing. It's so simple, but yet so great. Just silences your grunts of pain. The reason why this perk is so good is because if you fight a killer like Spirit who has to rely on sound to find you, she'll never find you because with Iron Will, it completely silences you and very much makes you undetectable to find. Like, I was playing a game once with Iron Will, and when I was hiding from the killer, he didn't even see me because he didn't even hear my grunts of pain. It's such a great perk, and this is an example of a perk that doesn't need a lot of downsides or requirements. Just one simple effect. You don't make noise while injured. Simple. Love the effect. It has such great effect, great use, great versatility, and this perk was actually controversial. Like, a lot of people said the perk should be nerfed, like, because it's too strong out compared to all the others. And I disagree. I don't think Iron Will needs to be nerfed. It just needs a few adjustments. Like, I'm not going to go into it, but I would just make it so that you are not completely silenced when you do anything. I would just make it so that you're only 100% silent when you walk around or don't do anything. Then you're 50% silenced when running to make it a bit more fair. But overall, Iron Will is a very good perk and it deserves the spot on this list. Now, let's get to the next perk. So, the number 4 best survivor perk is Decisive Strike. Basically, what it does is, after being unhooked for the next 60 seconds when grabbed by the killer, you get a skill check to stun them for 5 seconds, escaping the grasp. But if you do the following actions, it'll disable the perk, so that way you can't use it until you're unhooked again. Now, this perk, oh my god. See, before this perk was nerfed, this would have been number 1. This perk would have been number 1 on the list if it didn't get the nerf of deactivating after completing actions. Because before the nerf, this perk was fucking overpowered. This was one of the best perks in the game because you could get unhooked and get a 60-second invincibility. Literally, and the killer couldn't touch you. Like, you could work on a gen with the perk activated and the killer couldn't hook you. You were invincible, basically. But then they nerfed it so that actions that progress the game will deactivate the perk, so it doesn't feel cheap. But the reason why this perk is on the list is because it's great, because it's an anti-tunneling perk. So, hate being tunneled, you get off the hook, the killer downs you, picks you up, stun him, and leave. Great perk because it counters the most annoying playstyle in the whole game, which is tunneling. It's very, very good. But the reason why it's number 4 on the list and not in the top 3, it's because it can be disabled when doing action. So if you get off the hook and you do anything, you lose the perk. You pretty much lose the perk and you have to be unhooked again, which can be very annoying, but it is balanced. It's the way to keep this perk balanced. But overall, Decisive Strike is very good perk to counter an annoying playstyle. So, let's get to the next perk on the list. So, the number 3 best survivor perk is Borrow Time. Basically, unhook someone, and for 12 seconds, the next hit that would down them is ignored and gives them a mend timer. Very simple perk once again. This is a teachable for William Overbeck, and this perk went through a lot of revisions, and the one we have now is basically, I don't know, basically, like, I wouldn't call this perk balanced. I will admit, this perk is very, very strong. It is very good, but not in a good way like Decisive Strike is. This perk has a playstyle that not a lot of people know about, but makes this perk annoying. But the reason why it's good though is because not only does this, like, you know how Decisive Strike counter tunneling, this perk counters camping and tunneling. It has a little neat feature that no one even knows about, which, yes, some people do it, but it's not well known. Basically, you get unhooked, but instead of the killer targeting the unhooker, that the purpose of this perk, you can basically just run in front of the killer and fuck him over and ruin his momentum by getting in his way. If the killer doesn't count 12 seconds, you could fuck him over just by getting in his way. Which is so annoying though, because this perk is supposed to promote not camping instead of not tunneling and not camping, which I guess that's a good thing though. But that's not the purpose of this perk. The purpose of this perk is to counter camping, which it doesn't though, because the guy who has the endurance effect could just run in front of the killer and fucking take away his pressure, which I don't like that personally. But overall, on this list, it is a very strong perk. This is one of the best survivor perks in the whole game, because like Iron Will, has such a simple effect. It counters camping, another annoying playstyle, and the effect of being able to tank a hit is very, very good. This perk is phenomenal. Only reason why, like, it's better than Decisive Strike is because at least it works the whole game, and you don't need to be unhooked, and it doesn't deactivate. Anyway, that is why Borrow Time is good. But what could be even better than that? A perk that counters camping and tunneling if you body block the killer if he doesn't wait 12 seconds. What could be better than that? Well, let's find out. Let's get to the next one. So, the number 2, the second best survivor perk in the game is Dead Hard. Basically, press A while injured and you dash forward, avoiding all damage. That's pretty much what the perk does. Now, I'm about to go on a little rant here. This is one of, if not the cheapest perk ever made in Dead by Daylight. Like, if there is one perk I hate with a burning passion so hard, it's Dead Hard. This perk sucks. Well, even though it's on the list, it's the best survivor perk, but as killer, when trying to deal with the perk, it sucks. This perk is god awful to fight. So basically, what makes this perk annoying, which is oddly surprising, it's not the invincibility frames, no. People would think that the invincibility is the most annoying part. It's not. The annoying part of this perk is the distance part. So when you press A while injured while running, you dash forward, and that will avoid all damage. I don't have a problem with the damage part. I have a problem with its cheapness of how it's used. So pretty much, you chase someone at a loop for, let's say, a minute, you chase them, or 30 seconds. You go to swing at them, they dash forward to the pallet, they drop it, and then they run to the next loop. That's the problem with this perk. It's so cheap. It requires literally no skill to use. Just run forward, and if the killer's gonna hit you, just dash forward to a pallet to get more distance, and you're safe. It literally promotes the most bad gameplay ever, and you gotta get injured for this to work. Now, I know it's hypocritical because we have no one escapes death, but that's another issue for another video, but it's like, it's stupid how this perk, its activation requirement is just be bad at the game. Just get injured and then dash forward when the killer is about to down you. It's basically press this button to undo all mistakes. It requires no skill, no punishment. Literally, if you fuck up with this perk, yes, there is the punishment of running into a wall, but you literally, no one is going to use this perk to run into walls or to dash for invincibility. No, they're going to use it for distance to get to a pallet to extend the loop. This is why this perk's number 2 on the list. This is why, in my opinion, this perk needs to get a nerf. This is the only perk where it has to be nerfed. But you're wondering, what's number one? Like, what could be even better than Dead Hard because of my angry rant? Well, I don't have a as big as issue with this perk, but a lot of people do. So let's get to number one. But before I get to number one, I do have like an honorable mention I need to talk about, and that's Unbreakable. Now, what Unbreakable does is it makes it so that you could recover from the dying state once, and you recover 35% faster. Now, this is a great perk for slugging because it counters slugging, but the reason why I didn't put this perk on the list is because killers will always pick you up, and the perk might not work so much. So, it's a good perk, but it's not good enough to make the list. So let's just get to number one and see the number one truly good perk. So the number one best survivor perk is Boon Circle of Healing. Basically, any survivors within 24 meters of the boon can heal without a med kit and heal others at 100% bonus speed. Now, I'm not as angry at this perk, but you know how I said every perk counters a playstyle? Like Decisive Strike countered tunneling, Borrowed Time countered camping, Dead Hard, just being the cheap perk, counters chasing. How about a perk that counters everything? A perk that counters not even being killed. So basically, this is one of the boon perks that came out, and boon perks are a new mechanic. Now, some people thought these weren't going to change the meta, but there's one perk that absolutely has changed the meta for the good and for the bad, which, okay, I will admit, they're not as big as an issue as everyone makes them out to be, but I will admit Circle of Healing is very, very strong, but not in the good way. The reason why this perk is so good is because it counters everything. You thought Dead Hard countered a lot. This perk counters more than that perk. Pretty much just put your boon down anywhere, and if you get injured, run to the boon, heal up, and then go back. What makes the perk so strong is that you can literally heal yourself without a med kit. It basically outclasses every healing perk. It outclasses every healing perk and has a 100% healing speed to others. That's fucking strong. And not only that, though, the killer, even though the killer can break the totem, so it's a dull totem, you can easily just go back and relight the totem and get infinite healing like nothing. It's so powerful for no downsides. There's only one downside. It takes 14 seconds to set up, which means no generators. But what's the point? By the time you set your boon totem up, if a killer chases you, you can run. Like, what you do is put a boon totem on the other side of the map with 3 gens on the other side. If you get injured, just run to the other side, heal up, and then go back. The killer can't do anything. You lose all your pressure just from that happening. This is why Boon Circle of Healing is the best survivor perk in the game. And I made this video this week because Tuesday we're going to get the mid chapter for the PTB, and I honestly won't be surprised if Circle of Healing gets nerfed. I won't be surprised if they nerf the boons in the next update. But I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe and press the silver bell for notifications, and thank you once again for 100 subscribers, and I'll see you in 2022. Peace.